You see this bell icon here? Hit it now and we'll ensure you get delivered the very best of reviews, interviews and pop culture content.
I saw this actor blossom like that.
Yeah.
She found the full potential of what Alia Bhatt is all about. I had to wait 17 years for Alia to be ready to face the camera in my film and then make Gangubai, which I wanted 7 years ago, and it was all worth the wait.
Sanjay, congratulations on Gangubai. I loved the film. It is so emotionally rich, it's so visually rich, and Alia is just all sorts of spectacular.
Is it the first time in your life that you're praising me or my work?
This is not true. You just think I don't like your movies. I do like your movies.
First time you're praising me, and I am very, very honored, and I'm very, very happy, and I feel I've arrived now, finally.
I have to start, Sanju, with Alia's performance. Okay, she said to me that she met you when she was 9 years old and she did an audition for Black, right? Now, then you cast her in Inshallah, which gets shelved. At what point did you start to see her as Gangubai? And what did you do to extract this performance?
I saw a very, very powerful person walking into my house when she was 9 years old.
At 9?
At 9. I was sitting by the dining table and my main door is right in front, and this kid walked in with the mother and her eyes reached me. And she'd come to audition for Black, for the small girl's role. And I said, Amita Sehgal had got her. I said, Amita, she was a casting director. I said, not her. I want to save her for a film.
No.
And I think this is a big heroine and a big star who's walked in. She was that small and tiny built, and she had curly hair and wavy hair, and there's something very special about her. And those eyes just, and she kept looking at me and I kept looking at her, and there's something, I said, here is something, somebody from some karmic connection I have with this girl. Then we went inside the room, and then I said, Soni, now you sit. I said, now dance to Dola Re Dola. I wanted to see how much of a heroine she had in her. How much was she comfortable with the mainstream at that age. You could not. But today's kids are very, very well versed with all dance moves and being a heroine, etc. She came out with flying colors over there. Then I made her sit, I dressed her up. Then I said, Ranbir, just sit next to her, because Ranbir was assisting me in Black at that time. And then so I said, now come on, let's take some pictures. And I said, put your head on her shoulder. On his shoulder. So she said no. She was feeling shy of it. So I looked at Soni and I said, what is this? Then she said, she's shy. I said, Acha? I said, put the head I'm talking to Soni, and suddenly I saw the head go onto his shoulder. And I have that picture of the two of them, which I sent her last birthday. It was a little black and white copy somewhere, saved, stored, scratched. And I sent it to her. I said, do you remember this moment? Yeah, but coming down to Inshallah didn't happen, and then I realized that I had blocked her dates, I had blocked a lot of her time, and she was very excited about working with me. She wanted to experience filmmaking, being a part of my films, so I said, let's do Gangubai. And I'd written the script 7 years ago. I wanted to make it before Ram Leela. So I took that out and we started writing, and a few people around the table looked at me and said, but Alia. I said, yeah, Alia. So they said, but she will not. I said, it is Alia. Let us narrate it to her. So when she came and heard the script, and she was like flabbergasted. She says, well, what is this? I want to be a part of your heroine, where it's glamour and gloss and big dance routines. And this is, do you think I'll be able to do it? I said, of course you'll be able to do it. You have to trust me on this. So she said, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And she ran out of the office. Literally ran out with her bag. So I told these people in the office that this is not going to happen. This girl is out. I have to now look out for the other options. And immediately in 15 minutes she messaged, can I meet you tomorrow? So I said, but what is the need to come and meet me, to come and say no to me? I understand. You're not comfortable with this world, with this character, with this whole atmosphere. Then I understand. So next morning she came, and we were looking out for options and saying, she'll look good, she'll be good. And she came and sat and she said, I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. I will do, you believe in it, then I'll believe in it. So I said, damn good. Now for her to start, and I kept seeing Gangubai, and the whole world, everyone, including people in the office or wherever, felt she was not the Gangubai. And I said, this is Gangubai, because here is an actor whose eyes, here is a face, forget an actor, I've not even seen her act. Here is a face that exudes so much power in the eyes. And she came along, and then workshops. I said, you're a Bandra girl, you live in high society, you have to go to Kamatipura, you have to think of that. The attitude of people, the note on which, the way they speak, the way they look, the way they spit, the way they stand, the way they walk. There were lots of references given to her to bring the note down.
She said you wanted her to watch Pakiza, of course, but
Yeah.
also, memoirs of Geisha but
I
how?
showed her a documentary called Mon to the Brothel, very nice documentary. Then there was a French director who had shot Kamatipur. I didn't want to take her there because somewhere for her as a character, when she comes there, she sees the world for the first time, and that's how I should see it in her face and let her explore it in terms of everything. But to bring the note down, she started getting that. And I have a way of talking. "Ke bhai, idhar aa, chal ye leke kar." So she started following all that because she understood that Anu lived one lane away from that Kamatipura. So for me, that world was something for 30 years I have absorbed, imbibed. So it was very easy for me to convey to her exactly in not too much preparation, not too much discussion. I do not like too much preparation. Too much preparation spoils the idea of performing according to me. Yes, you know your basics. Yes, you know a little thing here and then. The rest is you have to create it out of that. So I think we had a great chemistry. She understood exactly where I wanted. First day of the dialogue, the first time she did a dialogue scene, there was a little discomfort.
Which one?
Chand thi, Chand rahegi, and that one. And she wasn't understanding what I'm trying to get in terms of attitude because it is a very hard world. It's a very hard woman. She's a very solid woman who speaks with an attitude, but that's how she controls the area. After that first day, we never looked back. And then she was just flowing and feeling every bit of it. And in my discussions, I normally come meet at 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock night shift. And that is when we sit and discuss a scene. And then she's sitting exactly the way you're sitting. And then I'll talk. And in my talking and conversation, she would observe. Then she'd understand what tonality I'm using to say a particular line, what is my attitude, what happens to my eyes. Besides that, I would make her participate. What is your take on it? And suddenly she started contributing to how she wants to do it, where she would want to do it. How will she was imbibing what the dialogue writer would do or say, or I would say, or we would all discuss, because everybody has to participate. I cannot say, I told you how to do it. I will give you subtext, I'll give you ideas behind, I'll talk of a story from some past, which has some relevance, which you will wonder why you're telling me this story. But those are the things you give to an intelligent actor, I would say a great actor like her. Yeah. And then she started becoming Gangu completely. And then there was very little exchange. This is this. She would watch me during the way I read the scene. Then I said, now you give me your feedback. Now you do it. Now what I would want to do this. I said, okay, full freedom. When you give an actor the freedom to think, to contribute, to become that person, because finally in front of the camera, it is she who's standing and saying the line. Yeah. She who's standing and interacting with people and atmosphere and the colors and everything that is working on her mind and everything. So it's important that she contributes, and that contribution is very, very valuable to me. So she was intelligent enough to be there, and I also improvise a lot. I have a paper which I'll send it to you one day before. You will learn the lines. Next day I'll come in at 5 o'clock meeting, everything changes. And then it's like, so she stopped after a point memorizing the lines. She said, okay, fine, let's play it by the ear. But she would go to get ready, that's when she would memorize the lines. Now that's final.
Right.
But that ability to, even after that, if I say, no, Alia, not there, she never questioned, but now I've set it in my mind. Now I've conditioned my mind to do it. My body is now worked to to marking those places. Never a word. If I'll say, Alia, jump from here to here, she would jump with that conviction with which I would want her as an actor to give it to me. There were no questions of how much do I jump, where do I land, how will I land. No, it was just the belief in the actor and in the director and my belief in the actor. Because I know when she'll jump, there'll be something special that she will do to it. And so every time I throw an ace at her, I'd get 2 aces back thrown at me. So that was a great experience of working for 150 days with an actor who is just there without the excess baggage of I'm a star and where is my 17 people that come with me and where is my special van for my costumes and special van for me. No excess baggage, no pride that I'm a great actor and I'm going to be sitting and listening to the script and I think this should be like this and I think it should be like this. Opinionated, no. She received and she gave. And when that excess baggage is not there in a star especially, actors don't have normally, then she's a great actor who's also a star. For me,
Correct.
that is very important.
Correct.
And that excess baggage, I just pray to God that an actor like Alia never acquires, because she's too special,
Yeah.
too special.
But Sanjay, the truth is that you saw that she could be Gangu, but even when that first teaser came like a year ago, a lot of us were like, yeah, but she looks like a child. So you just, it was pure gut. You just knew she could be this.
And that was the whole idea, that a 16-year-old girl gets trapped into this business, discovers this sordid world, and gets up and says, no, I have a voice, I have my rights over here. Even here in this sordid world, I have my rights. I wanted that passion in the eyes. This girl has very powerful eyes. This girl has a certain amount of vocal power that she has when she explodes. I don't know if you remember her talking to the mother on the phone, and she explodes on the operator of 30 seconds. Look at that.
Yeah.
But there's a very strange incident to that when she was preparing for that, she was sitting on the chair, and I wanted a certain atmosphere. So suddenly I saw some staff laughing or giggling, and I presumed that they were doing it laughing at me, and then I exploded. And the whole atmosphere on the set became quiet. It was my way of reaching those vibes to her,
Correct.
of feeling the nerves of calling the mother, of getting that anger filled, and at what note it should explode. I never told her, even to date she doesn't know that this is what I did to get her into that space. But as a director, I don't like to give direct instructions to people, because it limits the actor's imagination. An actor like her should be given briefs of a certain way of where what you create for the audience to feel. But how you do it, it has to be you.
Yeah.
As an independent actor, so I've heard directors get up and tell the actor how much to walk, where to look, where to stand. No. So I feel that that's the kind of belief that I had in her, that when she exploded on the phone and when she did all those things, I said, yeah, my choice was right. It took a lot of time for people to, when they saw the first print on the theater of the first time they saw her on the screen, that's when they realized. And I was like, having the last laugh, because that is what I believe, that you have to look at an actor and say, Anu, I can make you do this.
Yeah.
And that is the job of the director, to make you realize that, Alia, you have so much potential.
Correct.
You can go global. You have that potential to make India proud.
Yeah.
So, but you have something in you, and leave those films that you have done. You have done very good films. I'm not saying a word, but this is hardcore. This is a piece of my absolute heart of all the grime and grunge and humiliation and everything that I have witnessed in my life, which I'm now going to let those demons flow out, be a part of it. And I'll take you to some place without having to say these words. And she just went along with me and then started discovering something about her. And I saw this actor blossom like that.
Yeah.
She found the full potential of what Alia Bhatt is all about. And I feel that is what your job of a director is.
Yeah.
That I make every actor, give them immense love. I respect them tremendously. And I'll tell them that you can do this a little more. Let's do it another way. We'll find something else. Sometimes they get tired of me. But most of the time they love me after seeing it and say, oh, I never realized I think I could do this. Yeah, but it's a thankless job, Anu, but it's okay. This girl has really loved me. This girl has really been very kind. On all my actors,
Yeah.
Seema Pava, Vijay Raz.
Yeah.
They all love working with me because they have their freedom.
Yeah.
If you do not have the freedom to do the interview the way you want to, and if I am going to conduct your interview and say, Anu, you have to ask me these questions,
Correct.
then you will say, I'd rather you sit here and ask your own questions, I'm going home.
Right.
That freedom for any thinking person is important. And I
Yeah.
think that is something that I've learned over the years.
You know what I really enjoyed is that
Are we going to only praise Alia, going to praise me also?
I'm coming to your
Okay.
praise. What I really enjoyed about the film is that you position her as that traditional Hindi film hero. Okay, starting with the feet first introduction, which is how so many leading men have been introduced. Okay, the dialogue bazi, the swagger. Tell me what it was like to write this for a woman.
It was great fun. Because I've lived around those lanes where
Yeah.
women spoke like that.
Yeah.
They were all full-on women who would say, "Arey, kya hai?" They would talk across the balconies.
Yeah.
If there's a road in between, the traffic is moving. But what did you make? What did you eat? Yeah, yeah, ho, ho. They were all very, very. They lived the life fully with complete expression, in spite of being stifled in cramped spaces and a hard life and a difficult life. And I'm not even talking about the brothels, also the society that lived around,
Correct.
the lower middle class where we belonged. That was a very, very tough life. It was a very gruesome life in so many ways. You have to fill water to go 4 floors down to get a bucket and come up. That's how we would bathe. And there were so many things I saw, and all these women would do it.
Yeah.
As children, we saw the women, the husbands would be sleeping, and the women would go and fill water and do this and take the kids to school and etc. etc. Fight the poverty in the house. Find solutions to go and borrow some sugar from here. And I saw these women who spoke like that. They had a language, they had an attitude, which I thought suited Gangubai a lot.
Yeah.
And you go, and I've always gone to school from that lane, which is the lane that we've recreated. So my school bus would pass through this. And there's all this conversation of moving their hands when they're standing in the cages to attract the client, and the way they spoke, and when the client didn't come, how they would abuse. And I was watching this as a child all through day and going to school and coming back from school. That sound was there.
Yeah.
And I also in so many ways spoke, I have a slightly rough language. It's about chalna bhai, kar lena bhai, rakh de idhar tu. So it's not about being poised and so on. It's just the way we are in that area. We're brought up like that. And then to hear that coming from Alia, who lives a very high society life, and the way she adapted to it, I was having a blast. She took, I think one day, I told you that one day that she took to find her accent and her sound and the dialect. There were so many things that she was discovering, and then it was great fun. But great, the credit to my dialogue writers, Utkarshini and Prakash Kapadia, and we had a lot of few other people who were also adding little bits and pieces here and there. So it was also all improvising. Suddenly I would get up and say, "You journalist? I'm prostitute, Gangubai."
Was that improvised?
Yeah, it was just came. And that power that I felt at that point of time to be able to take this character and make her say anything without, what will people say? Will they feel bad? Will it not be seen in the right? I was flowing freely. So in so many ways, writing this character and hearing it through her voice or Seema Pawa's voice or a lot of other characters, it was great fun.
You know, I want to talk about, Sanjay, two of my favorite moments in the film. The first is Meri Jaan, okay, this lovely single shot song where I think you see, you know, she's sitting there with this man who's not there to buy sex. And she doesn't really know what to do. And you know, she's so vulnerable and she wants to control it, but she's also, it's just so hard. And you make her go through this gamut of emotions in those few minutes. Tell me about creating that.
Yeah, that was the last shot we shot in the film. Pandemic and lockdowns, and this song would constantly remain there. I said, what do we do? It was supposed to be in a club. And she goes to the club with Afshan and she shows him the world where she feels, I can buy you happiness tonight and see this rich world.
Yeah.
But then I said, no, leave it. I feel this is what I want to experience in one shot. So it was like, in one shot, how? I said, no, it'll happen in one shot. What does it need to cut? Does everything need to be in a close-up? And I can see the dynamics of two people. I can see the energy flow. I can see the chemistry. I can see the changeovers of the fear and feeling a little disgraced by the wrong things that he did by pouncing on her. And I can see how she responds to it. They were constantly in one shot. There was a constant close-up that I was creating, and you would watch one to the other and catch the other.
Like a tennis match.
Yeah, no? So it was like in one shot, I said, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
And they said, but your song, you should cut and all that. I said, no. Who gives this song is for me, Vijayanand created the biggest songs, and his songs sometimes would be in one shot, or Gurudat would shoot in one take, or in one place, or in one bed. I said, here's my chance to take that challenge, because it has taken me 25 years to accept that challenge and say, if you guys did it then and you all were bosses, let me attempt, let me see what happens to it. And one space, one bed, one coming down the stairs. These were geniuses who have left behind a legacy of chapters of how film students should actually assess, and rather than learn and mug it up and write thesis and theory on it, understand the whole instinct that a director operates in. Instincts are very important for So this was an instinct. And then we choreographed it and said, now you, now this leg, then this leg. And now for them to do it on a beat, but not show the beat.
Right.
So it's like choreographed, it's like a dance that is happening in a car, but it cannot show me the beat of saying, this on 4 we remove this,
Correct.
1 we did this. No,
Correct.
it has to flow.
The emotion is so important. Yeah.
And every time they did that, I think there were 5 takes for this, and this is the 5th take. And it started with a scene. The scene goes into the song. So it was like all through, like you're waiting to the last and some mistake they do the end, and it's like you topple from the chair and say, oh God, again you have to do the whole thing. But I realized that by the time they did this take, both of them, they got understood what I was trying to say. And the whole anguish of a woman who says, who is the man who says, I'll take you out for a date. Come, I'll take you out for a new car that I've bought. This is what a man normally does.
Correct.
Here is a woman who says, I'll take you for a drive, I'll entertain you today, and I'm going to drink. And then she does now understand that all she craves for is pure love. It is not about bodies. It is not about a sexual a craving that she has. She's gone beyond all that. Not that she wore white so that you feel that she has purified herself.
Correct.
That was not the point.
Yeah.
The point was that here is a woman who says, can you pat me on my head once? Every woman over there I feel needs that. Whenever I pass by, they're touching them all over the body. They're being exploited, and it's another world that I feel very, very sorry for, that gruesome world that they live in. But that one basic human requirement of being hugged purely or loved purely and patted on the head, even if, so what if she was a sex worker? She had a right to that pure moment of love. And purity is something that every woman over there craves. They're soiled according to in the eyes of the world. They're not nice women. No, they are nice women. They are there because of circumstances, because of whatever their reasons to be there. And nobody goes there out of choice.
Correct.
I firmly believe that even in the worst circumstances, a woman would never accept that profession out of choice. Most 90% of the time. And I felt that this was the time to tell the world that I think a woman's requirement is beyond just being made love to. It's also being loved in a purer way.
Yeah.
And that deprivation is such a it's so heart-wrenching it is. So when we did that moment, I was in tears because, and the way she played it, it was so poignant, it was so correctly done. Because you could have overacted, you could have either underacted, you could have not reached it, subtlety and etc., new words that new actors have learned. But here it was just pitch perfect. So when it got over and it was the last shot, I said, film is over, and what a note we ended on. It was one of the moments that I was very proud of, to have shown the whole range, going all the way from laughing and drinking to this one moment where she tells him silently, this is what I need. And I'm not destined to it. The sad part is that I have to ask you to do it. Even in that, there is the purity goes for a little bit of, because her mind says that even this doesn't come to me naturally. Nobody gives it to me. I have to ask my lover to do this to me.
Correct.
That is the destiny that I'm talking about, where she in that moment talks about so many moments that they've been deprived of, so many rights they've been deprived of. Not only this. And I made this film because Gangu asks for the rights unapologetically. She gets up and finally says, bunk you, I need this.
Correct.
I deserve this. We deserve this. So that moment was a very, very key moment.
It's lovely. It's really, it's masterful, absolutely. The other one that really stayed with me, Sanjay, was that overhead shot of Gangu and Kamli lying in bed as Kamli is dying. And, they're both crying. And it seemed like they weren't just crying for themselves. It seemed like they were crying for women everywhere. And it was just like, it just moved me so much. Is that what you were going for?
I think you're making it very emotional unnecessarily. These are moments which are so heartfelt.
Yeah.
When I created it, for me it was two friends. That your last breath I should feel.
Yeah.
There were two women who were dying, looking at each other.
Yeah.
both were dying in some ways.
Correct.
Because that's not a place that you live life. Yes, I got up and I fought and I did this and I did that. But at the end of it, it's the slow dying of the soul, which has gone through so much that you do not want to be born again as a human being. You lose faith in being a human being. So these are all very spontaneous, poignant moments which are not scripted, which happen on the set. Now you lie down and just watch her. And she watches you. And two friends watch each other die slowly. That is the whole crux of that moment where I'm watching every woman who's standing in the cage die slowly.
Yeah.
For us, death comes in a sudden way, or maybe with old age, but to die every day, bit by bit. She sees that very up close in Kamli. And so it's a very, again, one of those moments which I can talk about for hours on it, and it might end your show, and I might need tissues, napkins, and lots of things. But yeah, these are all moments which I think I shiver even now. When I talk of it, it brings a lump, because they are very from the heart.
Yeah.
You can't lie as a filmmaker on these moments. No moment should be a lie. If it's Bajirao, whether it's Padmavat, whether whatever I've done, I've always felt it. It may reach you, it may not reach you, is another story. But here, because the character just connected to the audience, and like the way she connected to me when I read the novel 7 years ago, when I wanted to make it before Ram Leela. The day I read it, I had cried a lot, because it brought me nostalgia. It brought me the women faces that I'd seen and I'd forgotten, but I'd moved on in life. And it brought me back so many stories that need to be told and be heard. Their questions we've stopped asking. And I found it all in those 30 pages in the book, and I said, Gangubai. And I called Zaidi and I said, I need Gangubai. I'm buying it. He says, but there are so many other good stories, more mainstream, if that is a filmmaker that you are, that you're. I said, no, Gangubai. This is woman in white. It's this one woman. I remember my grandmother in white. I remember those faces. Everything has come looming large at me. And I nurtured it for 7 years. When we dropped it with Ram Leela, I've lived those 7 years with Gangubai, talking to her, laughing with her. Every night I would walk in my bedroom smoking. Interacting with her, try to understand what that book said, and so many things that were said between the lines which are not mentioned, so many things which I think I knew which were not mentioned, and so many things that, and I thank Zaidi for having written that book, because he celebrates this woman otherwise who would have been forgotten.
Yeah,
celebrate a woman who got up and said, accept us in society, legalize the prostitution, and give the children the education and the right to live a greater life. These were unheard of in the time when there was no feminism, when there was no women empowerment. She went to Azad Maidan and spoke. We had to celebrate.
Yeah.
So today rightfully coined women empowerment, as women will continue to fight, and this injustice will continue to be done. But this story will tell you that even if it's done, you get up and fight and you will find a solution. Not that Gangubai's fight has found a solution. It is yet all still unheard. But we've raised the voice. Yeah. We've raised that question again. And somebody has to keep doing it periodically to keep that for those people, that they matter to us, that their right to dignity is relevant to us. Yeah. We forget about it.
Tell me, Sanjay, is it because of the childhood and where you grew up? Is that why you have such a special place in your cinema for sex workers?
Yeah.
Do you think it's directly connected to that?
Yeah.
Why do these women speak to you so strongly?
So you're sensitive to what you see as a child when you see them saying this to people who are passing by, 20 rupees. How can a person's rate be 20 rupees?
Yeah.
So these were things that stayed in my mind. I had to tell them through, but I was not finding it completely. I was finding it through Chandramukhi. I didn't get exactly where it went. This was the story that brought me. That we have to respect and value each one as a price. We are priceless for ourselves. We can't be tagged.
Yeah.
We can't be sold for 5 rupees and 20 rupees and 50 rupees. It is inhuman. And if you're sensitive to watching all this, as you go to school every day and you come back from school and you say, but Mom, what is this? And she says, oh, we can't talk about it, you're too small, leave it. So you leave it at that point of time. But their faces had tremendous stories. They make themselves up. They put so much paint and powder. Look at the grief. How do you camouflage that grief.
Yeah.
Cannot. No greatest makeup artist cannot take it away.
Yeah.
You cannot. So these are moments which, for me as a filmmaker, they mattered.
Yeah.
I said, what is this painting their face? What is it these people are living? What are these lipsticks they are putting? And they go relentlessly at it. Because there's anger in trying to make up. And they know this face is looking uglier by the minute.
So, Sanjay, I see sort of three phases in your career, right? The first, the early sort of soaring love stories, Khamoshi, Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, which is another favorite of mine. Then a sort of melancholic stage, you know, there was Devdas, Black, Sawariya, Guzarish. Then the big epics, Ram Leela, Bajirao, Padmavat. Is Gangubai the start of a new phase?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's more, I call these films as soul films. They talk about souls. They don't talk about people. I'm talking of Gangubai's soul. I feel I need to delve far more deeper into finding these stories that touch me and those souls which I've never spoken or never heard of. And yet, my cinema style has also changed. If you look at it, the way I shoot, it's longer takes, it's more minimal, it's less cutting, it's less camera movements. I'm putting a frame and letting you participate in that frame, finding your own area of the frame that you want to see and respond to.
You're
All
not
that
directing our
catches
gaze
I know.
necessarily.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm not cutting too much. I'm saying I want to be the audience to be a part of my filmmaking and say, this is how I'm seeing this shot. You choose the buggy you want to see with three women traveling in it, or you see that one woman fighting with a client, or you see it's very layered in terms of choreography, the group choreography and all that in Gangu. It's a lot of one shot, but lots of choreography, and we place each actor that is working, the junior artist that is working, we place them correctly, then we make them act, then we make them rehearse, then we make them real.
Yeah.
I think besides Alia, besides Seema Pava, besides Vijay Raj, look at the work the junior artists have done. I am so proud of the fact that we have people who we generally call extras, which is not the right word for it. They are also artists. And the way they perform for me, every woman in every window. So I was holding frames where you can choose the window you want to see. You can react to what you want to. So all those changes are happening, and I'm doing minimal art direction. It's less cluttered. It's more belief in the fact that this character, who I've painted a blue wall, that will work on its own on the subconscious of the audience who is watching it. If they want to notice the cockroach crawling up that wall behind her, if they'll notice. If they don't, they don't. But they choose, they are with me. So they are making their own film in their own mind, because they are also cutting it. So it's a very interesting experience for me of two people interacting, like in real life, I would say. So maybe I'm getting a little more real, but I'm not still in a documentary style real, or I'm a little stylish still. That style comes naturally to me. I have to choreograph. It has to be in my control. It has to be the sunlight that we create, etc., etc., etc. Because still the value for a frame, which is sacrosanct for me. A frame, which is the proudest moment of me in Gangubai, is the women for the first time. She is dressing up to go to the door, and all these women are on the benches. One is lying, one is sitting here, one is there, one is. And I thought that was the first shot we took, and I said, yeah, this is where I want to explore, because these are paintings of a different color palette. This is a different choreography within a frame.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of choreography which I'm doing, which doesn't seem like, but it is all done to the effect of. I think you realize it's like a song that I shoot, but without the beat. As I'm saying, I'm now doing songs also where you don't show the beat.
Yeah.
Like Jab Saiya was also one of those where you play cards, but you don't, it's done to the beat, but not show the beat as
right.
So this is a very interesting way of looking at. Sudeep, my cameraman, would be very confused about what is happening. It's different from what I shot the other two films. I said, yeah, but we have to evolve, we have to change, we have to reinvent, we have to go into another journey. And there was journey into the unknown, this style of filmmaking, which somewhere connected. I thought if I had not changed my way of filmmaking, making a film, this story would not have reached the way it should have, the way it has reached.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a new phase for sure.
Does box office still matter, Sanjay?
Absolutely, because The films that I make are expensive. Okay, even if it covers the basic cost out of the 4 territories that you normally sell, fine. Box office matters because not for the money, but for the number of people that come and see the film. Your work of art is incomplete if you do not, if it's not seen. What is
That's the last mile.
Yeah, and so that is very important that people should come in. Box office matters to me because of that. You know, then now it means that many tickets sold and that much money coming in. That's another way of looking at it. Mathematics just don't set in over here. I have been very. If that box office in that sense mattered to me, then I would not make Gangubai. Then I would make a film with a big hero and a big star and a largely mounted action sequences, etc., 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 which I've done maybe in the past, though not with box office in mind. I wanted to tell the story of Bajirao, who believed that the woman he loved was not his wife, but she still needed a place of respect in my house. So I thought that was a very courageous man. Normally affairs are pushed under the carpet and not faced. You do know you. But so I've always made films because somewhere the story touches me. At the core, I'm in my own study shut and I'm talking to these imaginary characters. It's a very strange process. If somebody films it, it's a comedy by itself. It's a anyway.
Tell me, will Inshallah ever be made?
I don't know.
Because you don't let go of stories.
Yeah, but
है ना? क्योंकि बाजीराव भी बन गई. This also got made.
Every film of mine has its destiny, and it gets made only when I think he wants it to be made. So I had to wait 17 years for Alia to be ready to face the camera in my film, and then make Gangubai, which I wanted 7 years ago, and it was all worth the wait because I feel that a film has its destiny.
Yeah.
In my film, I believe that the songs have their own destiny. I don't make songs to the situation. I say Gana Banate. Chab Sahi was made 10 years ago for somewhere in Guzarish or Black Time. Somewhere I was made a song and it remained. It found its place in the right place, at the right time, in the right film according to me. So it has its own destiny and therefore those songs blossom. I enjoy shooting because they're not tied to a situation and the lyric writer is writing to the situation. And, the film has its own destiny. You have your own destiny, and the actor comes in who has his own destiny. So when Bajirao Mastani is made, and when Veer and Deepika are in school, when I had announced Bajirao Mastani went with Aishwarya and Salman, and then Kareena came in. Then there's their own destiny. Then it was those school kids who have now landed up playing Bajirao Mastani. So I've let go with where life takes me. It comes.
Yeah.
I feel my biggest strength is that I connect to the universe. In some ways, I find those creative angels, those guardian angels that come and they protect you. So if I'm making Inshallah, look at what happened.
Yeah.
After 1.5 years of preparation and everything done, some energy comes and stops it and says, that's the wrong direction. This is the right direction for you right now. Somebody led me to this movement. And I am so willing to be led by these moments. On the set also, when I get stuck, the first thing I do is I go and change my clothes because I feel that for the first half day I couldn't crack a shot. I'll go and change the clothes. I'll put water as the biggest therapy for me. And then I come back and I start listening. Somebody is constantly talking to me and saying this. I don't know what it is. I think people may find it abstract, may find it unbelievable. They think I'm going cuckoo and I'm cooking up stories. But I really believe in catching from the air. That catching from the air is that you're alert, which means you're nothing. I don't know who's walking in. Is my pajama torn over there? Have I worn it? My kurta ult? It doesn't, nothing matters. It's only there that I'm watching. And then everything comes and you have to be able to catch it. Because that's what we call spontaneity. That's what we call instinct, to be able to say, this voice. That voice is your voice, but it's coming from outside you because that magic of exploring an idea. And then most of those moments that have happened are all improvised and they've all come and I'm sitting back and saying, where did this come from? I didn't have it till afternoon in my hand. I have not had it. Where is it coming from? So I feel that I'm enjoying filmmaking now in a spiritual way. It has become it's become very, very pure in terms of the purest that I can. There could be a very, very, very more purer filmmakers than I am and they're doing great work and all that. But I have started discovering something which is, I hope that I continue to pursue that and I hope I explore more of it because There's so much magic and mystery and enigma to this whole process that I am trying to pursue, that if you tell me to analyze my work, I won't know. When did you do this? I won't know. Why did you do this? I don't know. Am I answerable to this? I don't know. Do I need to analyze everything? That the last procession, is it a funeral procession in my mind that I now let Gangu go? I now bid goodbye to her? Is it a celebration of procession? Is it Durga traveling? Is it what? There are so many ways of looking at it, but none of those are discussed while I'm doing it. It's only in the hindsight when I look back and say, there are many interpretations to this. When she shuts Devanand's photograph, turns it around.
Such a lovely moment.
Yeah, so there are things which I'm doing. It's come out of the blue of nowhere on the set. I said, now, Dev Saab is looking at you, just turn it around. And Alia said, what? I said, just turn it around. Dev Saab should not see this. Now, I am vibing with the history of Indian cinema. I have my father's film poster,
Yes.
Jaji Lutera, which was my proudest moment in the last celebration when she goes, because it was in Moti Talkies, just 2 theatres away from where it was put in the theatre. We put it in Roshan Talkies. It was actually in Moti Talkies. But my proud moment was my father's poster. It's still there when Gangu passed by.
Correct.
There were lots of utensils in the house that we picked up. Of course, I've not used any of those. Those white saris, and then there was the rose. There were so many personal songs that I liked of Lataji's, which play around in the background. The tribute to the Madam Seema Pawa. Oh, what a wonderful actor!
Yeah.
What a great actor!
Yeah.
And what a wonderful director. So I just felt that I'm finding something where I'm flowing freely without box office, without project, without. It's a great place to be, and everybody doesn't get that luxury where you don't have to worry about. And somewhere, because of the honesty with which you make it, and you have a great team of people, I cannot make it alone. There is a great cinematographer, there is a great actor, there are great art directors. I would say this film was impossible without making my CEO Prerna Singh, because she was like a pillar of strength. Now, when these people come around you, those are your guardian angels.
Yeah.
Why is paradise up there? Why are the guardian angels there? They're here. We have to discover them here. We have to find them, and you see how they have always worked with me and for me. Because that is the magic of what I'm discovering in people, and therefore telling people stories of a world that I've not lived in, Padmavat and Bajirao.
Yeah.
But I still feel, am I 200 years old? Am I, my soul, 300 years old? How did I know those stories? Etc., etc., etc. I know I can continue for another 2 hours with you. I'm enjoying talking so much that I...
Okay, last question. Give me one last question. Yeah? Put me one last question. Okay. You, Sanjay, are in a sense the sort of last custodian, if you will, of the legacy of great masters. You know, I don't know another filmmaker today who would begin a film with Begum Akhtar or a Ghalib, you know, Ghazal, or quote Sahir Ludhianvi, or pepper the film, like you said, with Dev Saab, right? Do you feel this on your shoulders? Or is it just part of who you are? Do you feel like you're the last great traditionalist?
No, I just am so... I've absorbed so much of it that it's impossible to take it out of me.
Yeah.
When I was shown Mughal-e-Azam 18 times by my father in Alanka Talkies, just opposite that lane, the lane that we've shown in the film, opposite Alanka Talkies, 18 times as a child. Then he would go off to sleep. I would listen to him. And then he said, Janak Janak Payal Baje. See how the camera moves.
Yeah.
See the great V. Shantaram. V. Shantaram is one of my biggest influences on me. Then he said, Mehboob Khan. And then he showed me all these big films, which at that tender age, when you're growing, you absorbed it, and because I was always inclined towards it. So that was where I wanted to be. This is the world that my father always said, don't be over here. My grandmother said that, look, we have to walk from here, take a bus, go to Kolaba. I would go with my old grandmother to the producer's house to get the money back, the 10,000 rupees back, which she'd invested in the film.
Right.
And then you sit back on the footpath and bring the water bottle she's carried in a plastic bag, and then you walk home again, dejected after 6 months to do the exercise again. So there was, films was no. But all these greats were constantly being talked about. So I said, fine, I want the 10,000 rupees with interest. So that I'm going to work towards it, and I want it. I'm going to get that for my grandmother's soul, for the peace of her soul. So I think that has been settled. But the legacy of all these great filmmakers, Raj Kapoor Saab and Raj Khosla, and the way they shot songs, Vijayanand Saab, Guru Dutt Saab, these were all legends which I've never met, and I wished I'd met. I would have imbibed so much more of them. But I would see Raj Kapoor film once and I would absorb him so much, and I know exactly how Raj Kapoor will shoot this scene. And if the family would get up and say, like Reema saw the film and she says, you know, you're so much like my father. And that is such a big compliment to me because, and then somebody from Guru Dutt's family would get up and say, but your cinema is so much like Guru Dutt. Because this is sprinkled. This is legacy we should cherish. Begum Akhtar, Lata Mangeshkar, these are all people who made Hindi cinema and in classical music and all the traditions of Birju Maharaj ji and the great poets and the writers beyond cinema also. We've become Spanish, Korean, Iranian, Italian, what cinema we have. We have to be proud of what we are and find within that our language, our voice, our way of saying the story. Satyajit Ray was very Indian filmmaker.
Correct.
He wasn't impressed, even if he was with Italian neorealism or whatever, but there was still so much referencing that he did with Indian mythology and architecture and art and just fascinating work, Megheta Katara and all these people. Where is the tradition gone? Why is it so fashionable to be that and not this? And a lot of people felt that my filmmaking was archaic and that it was constantly moving in the same direction. I stuck to where I belong. They'd almost written off my career with Saavaria and Guzarish, and they said, oh, it's done and over with. But I was exploring. I was fearless if I did Guzarish after Saavaria. Then I've taken a boy who's considered a Greek god in Hindi cinema, who's known for dancing and action. He's lying on the bed and I'm talking without moving a limb.
Yeah.
So that was courage. Fearlessness is a courage, but fearless to also keep our culture going. Birju Maharaj, oh, kya wo thumri ne gaane kar rahe, oh. No. Today, look at the audience. The audience wants it. So we have been going into the wrong direction. And I hope that all these wonderful directors that we have today, the wonderful filmmakers today also, but they have to keep their identity, their own. तुम जो हो तुम हो और वो रहना चाहिए वो दाल भात की खुशबू हमारे या गेहूं की खुशबू होनी चाहिए हमारे वो.
I know.
And so I mean even today Anu, I do not go to a shoot without listening to 5 songs of Lata Mangeshkar on my way to the shoot. It has never happened. I will only listen to her. And then I listen to all sorts of music. And I say, one second, my soul is not feeling fulfilled. Then I play her and say, now this is Hindi cinema, encompassing Hindi cinema from 47 to the last song that she sang in Visa or whatever.
Yeah.
That joy of hearing that voice which led us to imagining. I would sit on the radio and listen, try and wait for the cabaret from Intakam, Aa Jaane Ja. And then say, how would I shoot it as a kid? And on all the songs, I would sit on the staircase and listen to my uncle bearing on his record player because we had no access to it. And how would I shoot Tere Bina Zindagi Se Shikwa? That's the first time I heard. Spellbound by the magic this woman wove. Oh. And I said it till date resonates. Yeah. What artistry. All my nuances of filmmaking come from my understanding of Lata Mangeshkar's music. I listen to it again and again. There are chapters and chapters written, hidden, secretly unfolding itself every time I go through it. That is the great artist that we have. That's a legacy we need to take. Jab Saiya is a tribute to that music and that kind of singing and that kind of arrangement. Yeah. Lakshmikant Paralal and Naushad Saab and Shankar Jaikesh. We've forgotten these things. No, don't forget. It's valuable, precious to us. I've given you a very long answer. You can do 2 parts in this.
I just want to say that I'm grateful you are keeping it alive.
Yes, dear. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And really, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.